Let's begin with demand. Demand curve, demand function, let me write it here, function also, or demand schedule. Okay, but before that let me introduce a concept, ceteris paribus. You know, when we are learning a new topic, it's also important that we learn the terminology used in that topic, and ceteris paribus is one such topic. What does it mean? Ceteris paribus means all other things are equal or held constant. So it is, you know, it is an idealization, it doesn't happen. Okay, we never, you know, when I say that let's study the change of price of apple on the quantity demanded, ceteris paribus means we are talking about all other parameters, all other variables are held constant, and we are only talking about the effect of change in price of apple on the quantity demanded of apple. But it doesn't, it rarely, you know, you cannot expect that market, just because you want to study market, will held everything else constant. It doesn't happen. But let me give you another analogy from science, that we do these kind of idealization. This is a modeling technique. Remember, like in physics, in 11th, 12th, if you have studied physics, then there you assume that whenever you are talking about the motion, law of motion, you assume that friction is absent. It's never absent, but you assume it out. So here we will assume that all other things are held constant. Okay, this is a modeling technique, because you know, we, as I said earlier, that it's very, whenever you want to study a phenomena, we have to abstract from reality, because reality is very, very complex. It's very, very difficult to get some result from the reality. So for clarity, we abstract from reality. Okay, fine. So what we are going to do, we are going to study, let me say that, let's take banana, we talked about apple, now let's move to banana. That the price of banana, we will see B subscript denotes banana, P denotes price. Okay, we will see the change of the price of banana on the quantity demanded of banana. Okay, this D denotes demand. As I indicated earlier, we are going to study supply also, so there superscript S would denote supplied, and B is for banana, and Q is for quantity. So we want to study the relation of PB and QB. Ceteris paribus means all other things are held constant, all other things are not changing, only one thing is changing. Let's say that the price of banana is changing, and the quantity, we want to observe its effect on the quantity of banana demanded by you, one individual. Let's talk about first one individual rather than about everyone. Let's talk about just one individual. What do you think, what would happen when price of banana goes up? The quantity that you would demand, here what we mean is that the quantity that you will buy from the market would increase or decrease or remain the same? It would decrease. So PB goes up, it goes down. Can you tell me why? Why does it happen? Why?
Because we have constraints on
Income constraints.
income constraints. Yes.
Income constraint. Right now we are not talking about income constraint. I haven't even mentioned the income. So let's not, bring some extra factor. Let's say, let me rephrase this question, that there is no constraint on income. Do you think if there is no constraint on income, do you think that this relationship is still valid? It's not valid. Two of you are saying it's valid, one of you is saying it's not valid. It is still valid, I would say. Even if you have a lot of income, probably if price of banana goes up, two things. One, see, I am not saying whether it would decrease, but it would definitely not increase. Let's agree to that. It's not going to increase. Okay?
Sir, but in a case like if a person is really poor,
Just be a bit louder. Huh?
if a person is really poor and he do not have enough money and he is having only 2 bananas a day, if we do not have any constraints on his income, the income rises, definitely he would try to have 4 bananas a day.
Huh.
But even if the prices of bananas
I'm not saying that the income would not affect. I didn't say that income would not affect that the quantity demanded by a person. I said other than income. Let's leave the income part out right now. Okay. So you are talking about a scenario where income would change the quantity demanded, and we will see income would have definitely would change the quantity demanded.
If price rises, then he would obviously prefer some other alternative.
So one thing is very good. So one thing is of alternatives. Remember what we are saying, that the price of everything else is fixed. Now we are talking about banana, and let's say that in market we have banana as well as, let's take some other fruit, guava. You can take any other fruit that you want. I like guava. Okay. So let's compare banana and guava. The price of a guava is fixed at 5 rupees. Now you like, let's say that you like banana as well as guava. Okay. Now let's just change the price of banana. Right now you are buying, banana is available for 4 rupees. Now the price of banana increases to 5 rupees. You may still go for banana. It will go to, let's say it goes up to 6 rupees. You may still go for banana. But there will be a price level where, and remember, the price of guava is not changing, it is fixed. So at one point, at one particular level, you would prefer to shift from banana to guava, even though your income is same, everything is same. Okay, but you would not be willing to pay that much higher for banana. So the availability of alternatives. Okay, that's why when price goes up, your quantity demanded goes down. There is another more important, this is not more important, but at least equally important. Second factor, let's look at it. Let's say, remember I talked about the maximum willingness to pay. Imagine again a thought experiment. In economics we do lot of thought experiment. We talk about scenarios, we bring scenarios and then we study. Okay, so now let's think that you are hungry. Okay, and you do not know the price of a banana in the market. You have money. Money is not an issue right now. You have enough money in your pocket. And let's say that only food item that is available is banana. Again, it is an abstraction. This, typically you have more than one goods, one consumable available in the market, but this is an abstraction. So let's not worry about it. Huh? So let's say money is not an issue. How much will you be willing to pay? Again, it is subjective. You may be willing to pay 500 rupees, he may be willing to pay 200 rupees, and he may be willing to pay 100 rupees. But what I am saying, you will be willing to pay some X amount. How about for the second banana? Will you be willing to pay the same as X or something less?
Something less.
Something less. Definitely not something more.
Yes.
Definitely not something more. Either same or less. Okay. How about the third banana?
Even less.
Even less. How about the fourth banana? Less. What is this called? This is called diminishing marginal value. Let's pay attention to before, let's have a little bit of digression from the topic of demand supply, because as I said earlier, it is important to learn the concepts or the jargon, the terminologies that we use in this subject, and marginal is one such terminology. What does it mean? What does we mean? What do we mean by marginal? Anyone?
Sir, when we increase our demand by 1 unit, then the price we pay for that. Marginal is
Something by change in something by something.
Okay, so right now I think it would be easier for you to explain if I ask you to explain marginal value rather than marginal. What is marginal value? Let's say in this context, when we are talking about banana,
Yes, sir.
marginal value is the value that you derive by consuming one more unit of banana. Okay, fine. So marginal is about, it's related to one more unit. It's always, let me also tell you, this is little bit imprecise. This is not a very perfect way to describe marginal. So I am also going to use little bit of concepts from calculus. If you do not understand that concept, please do not worry about it, because it will not be costly for you in terms of understanding the concepts that would come later. But if you know, it will help you immensely. Marginal is also a concept related to partial derivative. In mathematical term, marginal is nothing but del by del y, where y is the variable that we are changing and we are observing its effect on the variable written here. Okay, or in other words, it is the slope, okay, while keeping everything else constant. But this definition is also as good as this one. This one is more precise, but we will do with one more unit definition. That's good enough for us. Okay, fine. So diminishing marginal value, it means more we consume, the value we derive from one more unit gradually decreases. Okay.
Yes.
Now now you would say, why we are talking about this concept in demand context. So now let's see, the price of a banana is 5 rupees, and for example your willingness to pay for first banana is 100 rupees. Okay, so let me draw a table here with number of units and the marginal value that you derive. From 0 to 1, your marginal value is, let's say, 56. Again, these numbers are not sacrosanct. I have made up these numbers just for illustration, so don't get confused. From 1 to 2 means, what it means, from 1 to 2 means you already had one banana, now you are consuming the second banana. The addition in the value that you would get is 42 unit. While how much the total value you get from consuming 2 bananas? 56 plus 42. Okay. So 42 is just the marginal value. It means from one banana you are consuming now the second banana. And similarly, let me write some, oops, it should be 2. Sometimes people do not write these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they will just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you should understand from the context. Okay. So, just let me put some number arbitrarily. Okay. These are the marginal value and this is quantity, change in quantity at particular level. Okay. So, now let us say the price of banana is 10 rupees in the market. How many units will you consume? Can we get from this table, or this table does not help us? Look at the table again. If price is 10 rupees, how many units of banana will you get? 5. 5? Why? Because the price here 10 rupees is definitely more than the marginal value you get from when you move from 5 bananas to 6 bananas. It means now you have already consumed 5 bananas, okay, and you are going from 5 bananas to sixth banana. What is happening? You have to pay 10 rupees to get that 6th banana, because each unit costs 10 rupees. Okay. So, if you are moving, you already have had 5 bananas and now you are thinking of having the 6th bananas, your marginal value means in addition in your value is going to be equal to 6 units, while how much you need to pay? 10 units. Definitely it is not worthwhile going from 5th banana to 6th banana. Is it clear? So, it is, you see that the buying decision is related to your marginal value, not with your total value, not with the average value also, although we will talk about these concepts in more detail later on. What do I mean by marginal value, what do I mean by average value, and things so on. How about if price of 1 unit of banana was 5 rupees in the market, how many units would have you bought? 6, using the same concept. So, what we are basically saying that you will keep on buying as long as marginal value is greater than P. You will keep on buying as long as marginal value is greater than price of 1 unit of banana. How about when marginal value is less than P? You will not buy. So, when will you stop buying? When marginal value is equal to P. So, this equation will give you how many units of banana you will buy. Here it is not working MV is equal to P, because we are taking the discrete number of bananas. Let us say it was possible to buy fraction of banana, or in other word, if we were talking about banana buying decision over a month and we were taking an average for a one particular day. So, even though you are not buying bananas in fraction, but if you are taking the average for a day, it may come out as fraction. So, when you allow for the continuous variation in the quantity of banana bought, then this equation MV is equal to P will determine your buying decision. Fine, so far. So, now what we have learned, let me summarize it. 2 things, that when we draw, oh by the way, let me say one more thing. Whenever we draw price versus quantity in economics, not in mathematics, in economics, quantity is always on x axis. Quantity is always on x axis. Remember, how did you draw in the mathematics in your school days?
The thing which was independent we used.
Independent variable on x axis and dependent variable on y axis. Here when we are talking about quantity demanded, we are talking about quantity demanded as a function of its price, ceteris paribus, all other things are held constant. So, we are talking about how the price of a good is changing and vis-a-vis how your buying decision is changing. So, in that sense, the quantity is dependent quantity bought, quantity demanded is your dependent variable, while price is independent variable. By the concept that you learned in mathematics, P should be put on x axis and Q should be put on y axis. Later on I will tell you a nice story, today is not the day for that. I will tell you that we have a particular reason, and there is some convention also, that we always put Q, that is quantity, on x axis, always. Quantity is always on x axis in context of demand and supply. Price will go on y axis. But the thing is here, what we have learned about demand function or demand schedule or quantity demanded, that as price goes up, quantity demanded decreases. So if I put, let's say we take price P is equal to 10, again I am making up, again I am making up, it's not from the earlier example, I am just making up these numbers to understand. Let's say that your quantity demanded is 2 kg. So here you get a number 2, 10. The first number denotes the quantity demanded and second number denotes the price. Okay. So what happens if price goes down? Let's say now the price is not 10, price is 5. What's happening to the quantity demanded? Will you demand 2 kg or something more than 2 kg or less than 2 kg?
More than 2 kg.
See, again, that's fine that you are thinking more than 2 kg, but it depends on the good. It is what I can say with certainty, that you will not demand less than 2 kg. At least you will demand, if price goes down from 10 to 5, quantity demanded would not decrease. Okay? It may increase, it may not increase, but it will never decrease. Fine. So let's say that it increases. Now you demand probably, let's say 4 kg. So if you have enough, enough data giving quantity demanded as a function of price, you can draw the demand curve. So although here it's not possible because we don't know whether it is a straight line or a different curve, we cannot draw, but you understand the process. This is the way we have to do. We have to take different prices, we have to figure out quantity demanded for this particular individual, and if we have enough number of data points, we can draw. So let me just draw here. It is a downward sloping curve. What we have figured out is that demand curve is a downward sloping curve. We haven't figured out that shape would be like this. Shape can be any other thing. It can be very well a straight line. Okay. But we have learned that demand is a downward sloping function. No matter whether you put, even let's say you are not supposed to do it in economics, but if you do it just as experiment, put Q on y axis and P on x axis, still you will get a downward sloping curve. Why? Because Q and P are inversely related. If Q goes up, it implies that P has come down in the market. Okay. So that's why you will get, that's why we say that demand function is a downward sloping function. Okay. And this is very important. Even when, what we have learned, that if price goes down, quantity demanded would not decrease. Let's say it remains the same. In this case, you will get a straight line. This line can also be, what does this mean? let's say it is a straight line, it is not a very good drawing, but it is a straight vertical line. What it means, that quantity demanded is not changing with the price in the market. Still you get a demand as downward sloping function. Fine, okay. So never ever forget is that demand is a downward sloping function. Okay, any question about it, that demand is a downward sloping function? Two reasons that we have figured out why demand is a downward sloping function: because availability of alternatives and
And marginal
diminishing marginal value. Two reasons.